And what's happening out there, folks? Hope you're all well. Welcome along to another edition of your 420 News. I'm your news host, Martin Condon, and the 420 News is brought to you by Martin's World. Guys, hope you're all doing good out there. It's Friday, it's high day. Don't have any joints today, but I do have my trusty bong, so I'll partake in a bowl or two, witchy, as is the Friday tradition, it seems. Friday high day. Guys, I have a bit of news there for you, as it is the 420 News. It's going to mainly centre around Ireland. It's actually all going to centre around Ireland. So, guys, I hope you're rolling up, you're blazing up, because I'm going to get on with the show there. But before I do, I'm going to pack myself a bowl. So, give me 1 second. I just grabbed my ashtray. Boom, sorted. Should have been a bit more prepared for this one. But anyhow, it is what it is. But it's Friday, guys. Hope you're all doing good. Hope none of you had any bloody bad interactions there this week with the Gardaí. I haven't had any bad dealings with them, but I was in court there again earlier this morning. I went in, I appealed my case. So basically, the appeal is lodged. I done a little live video earlier this morning over on Instagram, so apologies to anybody out there who isn't on Instagram and who follows the show and stuff. You know, I do use a couple of different platforms there, mainly Facebook and Instagram, for just kind of getting these live videos out there. And this morning I just went live up on Instagram. But what all you missed was basically, I went in to the court this morning. I had a date with the judge. I went in wearing my weed leaf mask, as I do, representing. And yeah, within 2 seconds, kind of went in, and he asked me why did I want to appeal it. I told him the reason why I wasn't happy with the decision. I believe he didn't hear the case as I would have liked to have had it heard, and I would like to have it reheard again, which is my right. And so he granted that. I went down, signed the paperwork. One fun part was I actually had to go over to the guard station and lodge the appeal there. So I had to go over, give them papers. So it would have been nice if I actually had to go up and give it to the guard himself. But look, it is what it is. The appeal is now lodged, and I'll get a date in the coming weeks or months, possibly even year, to go back to court to have that case reheard. And if you don't know what it was for, it was over €10 worth of cannabis, and they gave me a €400 fine and a conviction. And that conviction will reduce my ability to get jobs. It reduces my ability to travel. But I know this because I have convictions already before that, again, for possession of cannabis, you know. That was probably one of the reasons, actually, I have this grinder now. As I look at it, I've got a big steel grinder here. Like, the thing could probably, I don't know, I've definitely fit more than a 50 bag in there. Like, you get about 5 or 6 grams in there easy anyway, and grind it up, all well and good. But I got that because the reason I got caught a good few times before is because I'd have a bloody grinder in my pocket. Jeez, so I went away and I got the biggest, the heaviest grinder I could find, so I don't put the thing in my pocket anymore. And it served me well, actually. I only ever got caught with joints afterwards. Never got caught with my grinder. I still have the bloody grinder here. Like, I have this grinder, jeez, I don't know, about 7 or 8 years now, easy. And long may that continue. I hope I can have it another 27 years, and it doesn't end up in the evidence room of some Garda station somewhere, as some of my old lighter or grinders did. But guys, just before I get into the news anyway, we'll rip one up with you out there. So to anybody who's blazing, happy 420, guys. And we get on with it. So guys, guys, if you don't already know the name Little Collins, well, you should. Little Collins are they're a CBD dispensary, or as they were called recently, actually, in a news article, they were called the Vegan Cafe, which I didn't know they described themselves as such. I just thought they were a CBD dispensary slash cafe. But this article said that they were a vegan cafe, which kind of reflects, I suppose, a lot of the stuff they do sell there is vegan based. I don't think they have any meat in the menu, which makes sense now. But why they're making the news today is because earlier in the week, Little Collins had lodged a case against the Irish government. And I'm just going to pop up their website there just so you can all see it out there. And it's a fine website. But these guys have lodged a case against the Irish government because they were raided numerous times. It was May last year, May 2019 was the first time they were raided, I believe, and they had over like 10 or 20,000 euro worth of their product taken from them on that occasion. Not only had they had product taken from them, but they actually had their home raided too. So guards entered the premises of these business people who set up this, like it's a fine looking website and it's a beautiful shop, and from what I hear with people, it's a great experience that everybody has who's visited. I've heard no negative feedback as such as yet, and I don't intend that I will hear that either. JP, I've talked to him a couple of times there. The owner of the store seems like a nice guy. Hope to have him on the show there in the coming weeks to kind of be filled in on all of this. But they're bringing the government to court because they believe that they're on the wrong, that the government shouldn't have come and raided their store. You know, you see the flowers up here on the screen if you're looking out at all. Like, they look like fine flowers, lovely buds there. If you're a person who is an admirer of this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's shameful that the government are wasting so much time and money having cops come down and raid these people's store. It's absolutely ridiculous. How much it must cost, who knows, really. All of these guards going down there. But not long after the article came out, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday, that this article came out announcing that they were bringing the government to court. That the cops showed up at their store and they raided them yet again. And they took away nearly 30,000 euro worth of product this time. It's absolutely ridiculous that they're basically being bullied now by, it seems, by the state. Because you can buy these products in other stores around the place. They're not all getting targeted. You can go into Holland and Barrett. Now, in Holland and Barrett, obviously, you can't buy the flowers. But why can't you buy the flowers? This is just very weird that this is allowed to happen. And people like this are being discriminated against. Their business model is being discriminated against because it's around the cannabis plant. And the government want to discriminate against them further, and they're dragging them through court and trying to slap them with a label of being criminals, involved in the trade of cannabis, an illegal drug, an illegal and dangerous drug, as if it was some joke. But yeah, they had it up there on their Instagram. Then this came from their Instagram story. And it was over a dozen Garda plus representatives from the HSE and HPRA yesterday seized products across all ranges, totaling over 30,000 euro cost and value. That's just so out of order. Like, guards, you've HSE, so that's our Health Service Executive, and the HPRA, which is the Health Products Regulatory Authority. They were all down there raiding this store yesterday. For what? Why are we expending so much time and money on this issue? Really, the only money that should be spent on this should be spent on educating our policymakers to create better policies around this, because there's been a hunger there for this for quite some time now, to be honest. If you go back to January 2019, so before Little Collins were ever even raided, you had this article out there that said Irish farmers could be given licenses to grow cannabis in the future. And in that article, they talk about the fact that the Department of Health had told the journalist in this case that while legislation currently prohibits farmers from growing cannabis, this policy could change. Now, it hasn't changed. There's been no change, and that was from January 2019. Now, in between that, we've had announcements from Bord na Móna saying that they were interested in growing cannabis, but still nothing at all has happened. So there's interest there, there's a hunger there, there's a desire there from the Irish people to get involved in this, but our government aren't allowing us. Our big daddy government are saying, no, you can't do this because You're not responsible enough. I don't know. I've actually heard that one before in comparison to the Portuguese population and the Irish population. And it was that the Irish people aren't responsible enough. Oh, look how they behave with drink. Imagine if we introduce another drug to that society. Like, really, like, they're going to treat us like children. No, you can't be trusted alone with cannabis, so therefore we're just going to not allow you have it because other people in our society act this way with drink. That's discrimination. They can't behave this way. They shouldn't be allowed to do this. And in that article, then they say that policy to date has not permitted the cultivation of cannabis for medical use, and no licenses have been issued for this activity. And that's interesting, that was back in 2019 that no licenses have been issued at all for growing cannabis for medicinal uses, which I understand. I suppose all of the cannabis grown in Ireland has to be grown for. Essentially, it can only actually be grown for fibre and seed. Any farmer out there growing cannabis in Ireland for CBD are most likely doing so outside of the the kind of the rules or the limitations set by the license that they have been granted. And I'll flick on over there to just a little bit about that license. So just give me 1 second, and I'll pop you on over to that license page. But it's just a little bit just going through the application process, and this was put out there by Chagisk, who are like kind of the agriculture education guys here in Ireland. But like they talk here about the license to cultivate hemp, and they barely use the word cannabis at all here. Like, it's hemp. They keep talking about hemp, and obviously that's the industrial name for certain varieties of the cannabis plant. So when you're talking about hemp, you're only talking about something that's for fiber or it's for seed. That's it. That's all it's for, fiber or seed. So like when you're talking about hemp, that's what you're talking about. Here they talk about the HPRA, kind of giving guys as to what they do, the role of the HPRA. So like I don't understand why the HPRA are involved in the hemp thing when it's only for seed and for rope. I don't think the HPRA are involved in say the growing of your cabbage or your lettuce or anything like that. No, that's the FSAI, the Food Safety Authority in Ireland. So it's again the HPRA getting involved here. It's kind of it's discriminating against this plant when all it's be used for is for rope and for seed. The role of the HPRA says here to process licenses to cultivate hemp on behalf of the Department of Health, accept and review applications, answer queries on current legislation, market surveillance of hemp products, cosmetics, and medicinal claims not permitted. So, like, nothing really of real importance here at all. Because nothing has actually happened here. There is nobody in Ireland currently growing cannabis for medicinal reasons at all. Anybody growing cannabis in Ireland, it's only for industrial reasons, which I'll get to there now a little bit later in this application. So this is the actual start of the application here. So name, address, air code, all of that kind of usual carry on. Can you confirm the seed type and the seed supplier? So you have to confirm that there, the seed type and seed supplier, and you have to provide evidence of that. You have to provide evidence that you are the landowner. Then you have to talk about the security around it. They don't do this for tomatoes. They don't do this for cabbages. So like this is very off-putting for any farmer out there who wants to get involved in this industry. It's like elaborate on the security arrangements in place. For example, is the crop visible from the road? This is an issue for cannabis when you're growing it, or for hemp as they like to call it. The hemp crop must be planted in locations away from schools, away from public. Why does hemp have to be grown away from schools? It's hemp. They're not going to get high off it. There's no problems there. This is ridiculous that this is all in here. It's just straight up ridiculous, and it's very off-putting, and it's detrimental to the industry that's really, really wanting to take off here. And you look at what's going on with the whole coronavirus. You think they would do everything that they can to enable industries to take off, but no, they don't. And this is the interesting one, like, because it says detail how you will dispose of waste crop. Clarify if the hemp crop is sent to another end user, and if so, please provide an end user contract. So, like, what they're saying here is that there's destruction of waste crop. And when you go down a little bit further, it says like that details of end use of crop. Okay, this is important. A. Mature stalk of hemp plant. B. Fiber produced from such mature stalk. And C. Seed of the hemp plant. So like that's all you're really able to use. There is nothing at all in here about the flowering tops, the mature flowers, the leaves. There is nothing there at all referring to those. So in my eyes, they must be up here, that they must all be proposed method for destruction. So are farmers who are growing hemp in Ireland and having the flowers processed, the CBD, are they acting outside of the kind of the rules that are set here by this application, or the granting of this license? Are they in breach of their license? And then at the end of it here, it's just kind of showing the license, when it will be granted. And here you have it, the fiber and industrial use. That's it, fiber and industrial use. That's all it's there, industrial use. Like that is not talking about making food. There's nothing, no mentions of food here at all, as in making supplements or anything at all like that. Um, they do make a indication here as to the value though, and you look here with the phenola, which has the highest value, and when you look through it, it's probably one of the ones that has the higher CBD. I haven't actually looked into that, but it is a familiar name, so it definitely could be one of the ones that has higher CBD. So it's just ridiculous that these are included in here in this license, that you can't even grow hemp near a school. Why in the name of God can't you grow hemp near a school? Imagine being told like you can't have a field of tomatoes near a school because the kids might, I don't know, they might be encouraged to grow tomatoes. I don't know. What's the problem with hemp? Really? Like, you're not going to get high off it. They're not going to die from it. Why are we allowing our farmers to be discriminated against who want to take part in this industry? We're putting them off it. We're putting the value up then for the price up then for the patients or the consumers of these products, because they're not patients, although a lot of them actually are who buy these products, the CBD ones. They're patients who can't get prescribed it by their bloody doctor. Um, well, it's just terrible that this is a situation that we find ourselves in, all because of the bloody Misuse of Drugs Act, which is why little Collins are challenging the government, because they've been brought up on four charges there under the Misuse of Drugs Act. And I'm just gonna again flick back over quickly there, and I'm just gonna just show you, because I don't know if anybody have any of you actually landed on this page before. So this is actually the Misuse of Drugs Act. So if you've been stopped and searched by the Gardaí, they're going to reference this law, and they're going to say, we're going to search you under the Misuse of Drugs Act. And then they're going to reference the section here, which is the powers of search section. Where is the powers of search? It's in there somewhere anyway. But the important ones for me, I suppose, anyway, and for maybe you out there as well as cannabis consumers, would be the controlled drug section here, number 2. So when you click into number 2, then it brings you in, and just this is the wording of the law. Like so, I've I was first met with this when I was 17. I was reading through this when I was 17, trying to make heads or tails of what the hell is going on. What was that guard on about when he said that he's going to bring me to court and charge me under the Misuse of Drugs Act? Like that was what I was going through, and I was trying to make heads or tails of all of this stuff. So it says here at the first part, in this act, controlled drugs means any substance, product, or preparation other than a substance, product, or preparation specified in an order under subsection 3 of the subsection. See, this is all very confusing, and it's referring to sections here and there. But the important thing in this is the schedule. So when you click on that schedule, it brings you to the schedule of the drugs. And these are all the drugs. And in Schedule 1, so you look here, you have Schedule 1, that's number 1. And then all these drugs, these are all drugs, drugs. And then you have this, like, oh, I don't have to highlight too much, but these cannabidiol derivatives and cannabis and cannabis resin. And above it there as well, cannabidiol, except where contained in cannabis or cannabis resin. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, these three things are here in Schedule 1 with all of these, like with cocaine, like, in fairness, with diamorphine, heroin, like that's heroin, diamorphine down here, that's heroin, that one is heroin. Like, this is where cannabis is. Like, this is wrong. This is not right. This is incorrect. This is not factual. There's no justification for keeping cannabis here, and we can't allow them to do it. There is no justification for this, and And what it does is it allows them to discriminate against us, which is what little Collins are bringing them to court for. They're being discriminated against and not allowed to partake in a legal industry because of this bloody law, which wants to protect its prohibition of cannabis. Because I don't know why they want to protect this prohibition of cannabis. Surely it's in the guards' benefit, the judges' benefit, in our entire society's benefit that we bloody get rid of it, in fairness. Um, but then when we go on to it, like when we look at it, it says here cannabis and cannabis resin, all right? What does that mean? So when we go back to our thing, it says here, section one, interpretation, okay? Important interpretations. Go into the interpretations. And at the very first line of it, it says here, cannabis, except in cannabis resin, means the flowering or fruiting tops of any plant of the genus cannabis from which the resin has not been extracted by whatever name they may be designated. And then down below it, then cannabis resin means the separated resin, whether crude or purified, obtained from any plant of the genus cannabis. And guys, like this is important. Any plant of the genus cannabis. So they have it in here like that. The hemp that the farmers are growing is essentially illegal, but they can grow it under license. So that's why farmers can grow hemp. But as I say, they can only grow it for the fiber and the seed. So essentially, like this is the all-encompassing one here. Any plant, and also up here then as well. This part, the flowering or fruiting tops of any plant of the genus cannabis. So guys, if you're buying CBD and the CBD flowers, well, in fact, like while you can argue they don't get you high, you can argue that it's good for your health and that you can buy CBD oil. But like the law actually says that the flowering tops is wrong, is illegal, and that needs to be challenged. That needs to be changed because it allows us to be discriminated against. It's wrong. There's no justification again for this at all. So this is where it is in the law that it says that these cannabis flowers, like it doesn't actually talk about THC. It THC is listed separately. So THC itself as well is listed somewhere in here. But this is just about cannabis. Like this is how they've made it illegal, and they've done it very broadly. And that's why farmers need a license because of this, all because of this. And this is why we don't really have a proper hemp industry, and why our planet is bloody being destroyed. Like, and I'm not even going into get into how hemp could have been so beneficial for our planet and our way of living had we been really using it over the last couple of years. Like, but it could have been, but it hasn't been because of this bloody prohibition that was set in motion there almost 100 years ago, and it just needs to end. And then here we have section 17, which specifically prohibits the cultivation of opium poppy or cannabis plant. So they have it here together again, opium and cannabis plants. Like opium, like that we get, that's where morphine and other kind of opiate-based things could come from. Cannabis, like again, it's not going to kill you. You can't overdose on anything in cannabis. We know you can overdose on stuff from the opium, and here we have them in the same thing, even a while ago in the same sections. Absolutely ridiculous, and it's something that really needs to be challenged and changed because it's incorrect. It's not factual. It's not evidence based at all. And it's literally all just to allow them to discriminate against us, to allow them to have the power to stop and search you just because, oh, you smell like cannabis. But really what he actually means is you look a certain way and I think you might have cannabis or other drugs and I want to search you. So I'm just going to say you smell like cannabis and you can't question me because I'm a guard. And that's essentially what happened to me, except in not the same sense that they smelled cannabis. I was parking my car next to a shop to go in and get water, and I was reaching down to get my water bottle just to check if it was full or not, to see if I actually had to go into the shop because it was right next to the Chinese I was delivering for. And the guard said I was acting suspiciously and he could search my car. Like as I said, I didn't even know the joint was there, and I was just like, look, I don't accept your reason for why you want to search my car. That was what he said in court. What he said to me on the day actually was the area is known for drug dealing, and therefore he wants to search my car. Well, I said, look, guard, I'm working for the Chinese over literally 50 yards away. I said, I don't consent to your search right now. I don't agree with the reason for your search because I don't even live in the area. I'm only here because I'm working here. And no, he was adamant he was going to search my car, hands in the window, grabbing my keys, pure intimidating me. And I had to get out of the car under duress. I didn't consent to the search, and that was the important part of my case. Is that's our constitutional right. We can refuse the search, and I said it to the guard that he can arrest me. I'm not going to object to him arresting me. If he wants to arrest me, he can arrest me. But I'm sick shit of guards, and I said this to him, stopping searching me and finding nothing and going away, and I've no record of it then. And that's why I wanted him to arrest me, because if he is to arrest me, there's a record of it then. And he used to explain to his sergeant back at the station, oh, I arrested this guy to search him because I believed he has drugs, but he had nothing. And that's what I was hoping would happen, but I actually had a joint, but I didn't even get arrested anyway. They just fucking bullied their way into the car, because that's all they bloody are, is gangsters and bullies. But I'm not going to rant on too much about this because it is Friday. I don't have any bloody good news actually today for you guys. Above in Galway, another piece of news for you. Cannabis herb and cash worth €125,000 seized, and again, what a waste of time and money. €125,000. Like, if you were to slap a 20% tax on that there, like 25 grand straight away for the exchequer. Like, why are we refusing this? Why are we allowing these dealers this free ride? Like, any business owners out there, they know full well that the tax they pay, that's a lot of money. And meanwhile, the drug dealer, or the cannabis seller, like, his business, he's not getting taxed. Yeah, he has the risk he could go to prison, but when you look at the profits he can make, like, feck it. He can get in a few Vietnamese slaves there, and he doesn't even have to pay them because there's no workers' rights there for the cannabis growers, or for the sellers. And you can recruit kids as young as you want them into the trade, because there's no rules for that either, under prohibition. So it says here that a man has been arrested after Gardaí seized cannabis herb worth 125,000 at a house in Galway on Tuesday evening. The Divisional Drug Unit in Galway carried out the search at the Renmore area of the city at 7 p.m. They located a large quantity of cannabis herb worth 90,000 and seized more than €34,500 in cash. So actually, they only found €90,000 worth of cannabis, and they found a pile of cash. It's just like they just say, oh, €125,000 worth of cannabis. No. Other news then, over to the Midlands we go, and I'm just going to grab a sup of water. So in the Midlands, we had this beautiful bag of cannabis get seized from some woman. Poor lady had her house raided. She was in Longford, and yeah, it was €48,000 worth of suspected cannabis. So, guys in Forensic Science Ireland, guess what? You're making money today. You're getting some cannabis sent up to you, and you have to figure out if it's cannabis. They have such a hard job, don't they? Like, I would hate to be them. Like, that must be so difficult to figure out if the cannabis they're getting sent is actually cannabis. Gardaí made a discovery in Glebe yesterday morning and detained the woman in Longford Garda station. In a follow-up search, a further 3,200 was seized in a property in the Longford town, and the woman has been released, and a file is being prepared for the DPP. So if the ladies out there, if you happen to be listening, if you want to share your story, give us a shout. I'm happy to have you on. You can do it anonymously. If I can, yeah, just share around. I just think it's bullshit that the guards are doing this. I don't know whether you're a good person or a bad person. I don't know. They didn't catch it with heroin or coke. Not that that makes you a bad person, but I just think anybody who sells cannabis, heroin, and coke, it's just hard to defend that position. But if you're just a cannabis seller, I can try to defend that all day. In other news then, in the Midlands, the mail centre above there, along with the assistance of the drug dogs again, and this time it was the guy Bailey. I don't have a picture of Bailey at hand, but he was the blondie kind of golden retriever, the golden colour guy, or Labrador even. Really nice looking dog now again, but unfortunately the job he's doing is just not very nice. And this was on Monday as a result of a routine operation with the assistance of detector dog Bailey. Revenue officers at Athlone Mail Centre seized almost 1.8 kilos of illegal drugs, including herbal cannabis, ketamine, methamphetamine, and cocaine, as well as 300 diazepam tablets. So a nice mixture of stuff there. Like somebody was planning on having a nice party there at Christmas. I've yet to try ketamine actually. I've heard some interesting things, but yeah, haven't yet tried that one. But I've neither have I tried methamphetamine either. I have drunkenly tried cocaine, and that's why drink is the real gateway drug. I was just drunk, and I wasn't able to really say no. Seemed like a fun thing to do when I was drunk, and I instantly became sober after a line or two, and I was like, why do people drink and take coke? It was like, what a waste of money. If you're going to take coke, like surely just take coke and drink water or something, because you don't get drunk. I instantly sobered up. I'll never forget it. It was at a Christmas party, for the pizza delivery gaff there at Donatello's, and funny enough, kind of nice, but never again, never again. I don't think cocaine is not the drug for me anyway. It was fun, but I see definitely how you could get addicted to it. Diazepam. I don't know that I take them. I think I took something like that going to Thailand once before, and the lady on the airplane, like I got a free drink on the airplane going from London to Hong Kong it was, and she gave me. I was after taking one of them, and I was waiting for it to kick in, and then I got offered a drink, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll have a whiskey, sure. And I was sipping away in the whiskey, and ended up spilling it on myself, like because I started getting dopey from the tablet, and I got up and yeah, I ended up putting on like jiu-jitsu pants. There's a whole story there to it, but funny one. I don't think I'll be taking them either, not even on an airplane. Geez, I hear other stories of people just falling asleep in airports, because the flight gets delayed by an hour or two, and they take the tablet, and next they just fall asleep in the waiting area, and the plane takes off without them. I don't know. Like, cannabis is the one for me anyway. If I want to always get high before I fly. But anyhow, it says the illegal drugs have a combined estimated value of 38,000 and were discovered in parcels which originated from the UK and Spain, and the parcels were declared as items such as eye cream, skin primer, and were destined for delivery to various addresses throughout the country. Something I've been saying for a while too, guys, is that the postman is probably the the biggest drug courier in the country, and including, I don't know, the private couriers that are out there as well, DPD, DHL, all of them. So much drugs move through the mail, and especially at Christmas time, there's so much mail flowing out there. Christmas time is a good time to get your drugs to be delivered because there's just such a volume there. Poor Bailey is only allowed work for, I think, is it 15 or 30 minutes at a time before he has to take a break. So the likelihood of your packages getting through at Christmas time are quite high. Pardon the pun. Was it this one? Hey. Anyhow, guys, the final piece of news today, and it's a cannabis pharmacy. And it's not the particular type of cannabis pharmacy because it is above an Offaly. And these guys were illegally growing the plants on the roof of the pharmacy. So there was cannabis plants found growing on the roof of a pharmacy in Offaly, and they were up in court there recently. So four cannabis plants were found growing in a greenhouse on the roof of a Tullamore pharmacy. The local district court has heard. Um, Andreas Kuka, aged 31, with an address, and he gives his address there, pleaded guilty to cultivating cannabis plants without a license. And this is a very important, without a license, guys. And he can't get a license. He's been discriminated against. He can't get a license because they're saying that the plant he wants to grow is dangerous, but they've no justification for it. And it's where have you kind of heard these things before? It's just like the condom story. No, you can't have condoms because they're bad for the moral fabric of our society. People will be having sex and not wanting to do it for the purposes of having babies. This was the kind of shit that was there. The same with the whole anti-gay parade that was going on for ages. The same thing. Oh, it's bad for our society, and it was all lies, no justification at all for it. very much like there's no justification for requiring a person to have a license to grow a cannabis plant for themselves. Sergeant James O'Sullivan and said that the cannabis from each plant would have the potential street value of €800, so that they said there that that's €2,400 worth, or sorry, €3,200 worth of plants. Sergeant O'Sullivan also has told the judge that the man had 12 previous convictions, including 2 for drug possession, and had been fined €50 on one occasion and 100 on another occasion. The solicitor then entered a guilty plea for him and said that the defendant was a Latvian father of 3 who worked locally. So he's a working man who just wanted to grow some cannabis plants, and he's a father of 3. I would love to like it's horrible that you would have to do it, but like imagine just getting those kids in. Like how good of a dad is he? Is he a bad man? Like, and they shouldn't have to do that's discrimination because you're judging a man based on that, and it shouldn't be. He shouldn't be viewed as a bad man because he's grown a fucking plant. It's ridiculous. He's a father of 3, and they're going to look to lock him up here for a plant. Do you know that plant probably made him a better dad? It probably allowed him to just be more grounded, more present, more engaged there with his kids. Who knows? You know, not everybody who uses cannabis abuses it as our law or our government would like us to believe. And he says the cannabis was for his own use, and he had made the admission to Gardaí when the offence was detected, and the judges adjourned the case for the probation report there until March 3rd next. And that's it, guys. That's all I have for today, guys. Thanks very much, everybody, for hanging on and for any comments that might be up there. I'm going to pop on over to them there now in 2 seconds. Just packing up another old bowl here for myself as we multitask the show. I have a meeting to make there as well that is starting in 2 minutes, so I'll try to fly through your comments and yeah, we'll see what happens. Happy 420, guys, and that comes up from Ken and John out there as well. He's chosen some smiley faces. Nice one for stopping in and for the comments, guys. Lovely to have you by. David Sayre says, Martin, do you ever worry about them raiding you while you do the show? And I know it sounds stupid, but you know what the guards are like. I would love it if they raided me while I done the show, because I'd just leave this running and I'd have my camera straight out and I'd be recording the whole thing. I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. I'm not afraid of them now anymore. As I said, I'm actually more afraid of the criminals out there who would target me because of what I'm saying, because of the message I'm spouting and what I'm calling for, because I'm taking away a massive industry for them if cannabis was to be legalized and regulated. As I say, €125,000 that cannabis there seized in one of the stories earlier that they don't have to pay tax on. So like this is why I'm more afraid of the criminals than I am of the guards. The guards can only lock me up. I'll be back out again at some stage, and even when I'm locked up, I still have my voice. I get a 6-minute phone call every day, guys, and the 420 news will go 5 or 6 days a week. It'll be a 6-minute clip, but it'll be 5 or 6 days a week. If the show will go on, even if they lock me up, and I promise you that, I'll do everything in my power to make sure my voice will still be heard. And yeah. So just, you know, if anybody out there is worried that if I was to be locked up that you lose an activist or whatever, no, like they can lock me up, but they can't put me down. Derek says here they want that grinder now. They probably do, you know, and I'm taunting them. It's here, guys, come and get it. As I said, you can lock me up, but I'm not going away. You know, they'll have to bring in the death penalty if they want me to go away, because this is a fight I'm not giving up. They are wrong. There's no justification for keeping cannabis illegal at all. It was put in place by a bunch of racist, homophobic assholes back in the 1930s. Come on, like, just give it up already. Dave says bully tactics by the Gardaí. Always, man, they're bullies, bunch of gangsters in uniform. And for not all of them, there's nice ones out there, guys. I always have to say that there is nice guards out there. I just haven't met them. Ferg says here, it's sad that there is too much red tape for our farmers, and sad especially when our other countries are flying with CBD or cannabis. It's right. Our farmers are being discriminated against, and they're being kept on the back foot because they can't compete effectively in the global cannabis industry that's really taking off around the world. So yeah, the farmers need to really step up here and challenge the government and that stupid Misuse of Drugs Act. Terry, hello, how are you doing? And she says she just tuned in, so nice one for tuning in there, Terry. And Dave says the laws seem to be written to fit with how the judge interprets it. Terrible in this day and age, and it is. The law suits them. They just read it as they want, and they apply it as they like as well. David's Shadlow says here, I don't think any party will change the law. They seem happy to take home their huge wages and won't risk bringing it up, despite knowing the laws around cannabis is wrong. And you're dead right, man. There's people up there. I don't understand why. I don't know the likes of Gino, Thomas Gould, and the other people out there who say that they support Vera and the other patients for access to cannabis. They need to step it up, man. They need to stay just sitting at that dial or something and just not leave until something is done around it, because this feet dragging and the can kicking and all that's going on there with the government, it's people suffering as a result of it. Do you know, and not only the people like myself being brought to court, but the patients, like the people who need it for medicine. You know, it's ridiculous. So something really needs to be done. I do scratch my head as the is activism not allowed in politician when you're a politician? Terry says here, saw a house being built. They used hemp for a part of the insulation, and it can be used for a variety of things. Hemp, you can build an entire house out of hemp, and get your furniture from it too. Ryan there says, good man, Martin, how's it going? Nice one there for the comment, Ryan, man, and I'll be hoping to follow up with yourself very soon. I just have a pretty busy schedule at the moment, man. But nice one for the comment and checking in. David Shadlow says the blonde guy Bailey. Yeah, the blonde guy Bailey. Yeah, that's the drug dog. Not a nice guy. Chase the ball for you, but yeah, you better not have an edge in your pocket or you might not chase the ball. Terry's tagging somebody here, and John says that he forgot I was watching you live for for the while. It's good to know that you're still tuned in anyway, John, man. Nice one. And John Roach says, smoking the Star Dog. Man, the Star Dog is everywhere. I don't think I've ever got Star Dog. I'm always kind of getting it from some local growers, and they've never grown Star Dog. So, guys, that's the end of 420 news. That's all your comments after banging through them there. And I have a meeting that's after starting 3 minutes ago. So I'm going to have to shoot. But before I do, guys, I'll blaze one with you. And just flick on over so I can see myself. Ah, boom. Boom. Here we go. We get the whole bong in there, really. Oh. Yummy. So, guys, that is it. That's all for today. I should have cleaned my bong before doing that earlier, but I got fresh water. Like, that's good enough for me anyway. Saved the isopropyl for another day. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's 420 news. I'm Martin Condon, and this was your 420 news brought to you by Martin's World. Until next time, guys, stay blazed out there and keep her lit. Peace.